In my personal opinion, the Ahsoka show has been hitting on all cylinders. I have loved the first 3 episodes. Episode 4 coming up on Tuesday. Let's make some predictions. Now, obviously, Dave Filoni wrote this entire show, but he was only directing 2 of them, which was episode 1 and episode 5. So I don't know off the top of my head who is directing episode 4. You guys can let me know down below in the comments. But the reason I bring that up is because a lot of people have speculated that we won't see Anakin Skywalker in any shape or form, whether that's through a flashback, a Force ghost, world between worlds, anything like that until episode 5, which is the next Dave Filoni episode. And that makes a lot of sense. And if they make us wait, per se, till episode 5 to see Anakin Skywalker, I will not complain. I am thoroughly looking forward to that reaction video when Anakin does pop up, because we are going to be sitting here, tears right there. They're going to be running down our face. It's going to be a great video. Thoroughly looking forward to it. But that's talking about episode 5. Episode 4, however, I do think we have set up some good stuff that is going to lead us to a great episode on Tuesday. I believe the runtime actually got revealed today, the day I'm filming this video, and I believe it was around 42 minutes. I don't know if that's with credits or without credits, which is probably with credits, so minus about 5 minutes on that, so you get about 30 and change. Which, you know, a lot of the complaints for episode 3 were that it was too short, and yes, it definitely was a short episode, absolutely, but I'm in the camp of quality over quantity of minutes. I enjoyed episode 3, I thought it was great, so whether it was 30 minutes or 45, you really weren't going to hear a complaint out of me. But what are we going to see in episode 4? Where we left off this past Tuesday, Ahsoka and Sabine arrived in the Red Woods on Seatos, and then we last saw Baylan Skoll sending those HK droids into the woods to hunt down, as he said, the Jedi. And you know, we saw in the trailers of Ahsoka and Baylan fighting in what we originally speculated looked to be maybe a new version of the World Between Worlds, but now we know is with that star map kind of lit up. And we have also seen Sabine and Shin going at it with another lightsaber duel. So I do think next week, this coming Tuesday, episode 4, we are going to get that double battle that we have seen. Except technically the double battle in the Redwood specifically may be Sabine and Shin, and then Ahsoka and Marok. Which I think I'm finally saying that name right. Marok. Say it 3 times. Marok. And you know, it's kind of interesting because I was thinking about this, and you know, one of the big speculations about this show, and really a lot this week, it has kicked up even more, is who is under the helmet of Marok. Is there an actual identity there? And everybody's throwing out a lot of theories. I've talked about it in a recent video. Go check it out in the cards. But it could be a new version of Starkiller. Sam Witwer's name has been in the credits for the last 2 episodes. People have speculated that Sam Witwer, at the very least, is voicing Marok, but very well could be under the helmet playing a new version of Starkiller, a completely different character, or whatever he may be. There has been some more, in my opinion, even wilder theories out there, such as Ezra Bridger, Kanan. Oh, he never died. They just captured him, brainwashed him because he was all burnt. They put him in this armor. People have said it is clone Luke Skywalker from the original Heir to the Empire. And people have also speculated that it is absolutely nobody. He's just, you know, some Inquisitor that for some reason is still around in this day and age because the rest of the Inquisitors are obviously gone. And maybe we'll still get some backstory on him eventually, but if he is like literally nobody and there's nobody under the helmet, he's just a character, some hired assassin, let's call him, for Morgan Elsbeth or Grand Admiral Thrawn, whatever you want to say, then maybe come episode 4, we are going to get that double battle in the Red Woods with Shin versus Sabine, and then, as I said, Ahsoka versus Marok. And maybe Ahsoka's gonna dice up Marok. Listen, if the dude ends up being a nobody and Ahsoka just kills him, like, whatever. Like, we can't blame anybody but ourselves for getting excited that there was somebody under the helmet. Like, you can't say really that Disney or Dave Filoni, whoever, really let us on with that, because he was just a character that popped up in 2 episodes so far, made a little bit of a presence. And like, people have brung up this point, like, I think a lot of people are just interested in the identity of Marok because he kind of has that mysterious vibe around him. It's like Boba Fett in the original trilogy. You only saw him a little bit, but because of it, it was just like, who is this guy? This guy is awesome. And listen, the speculation has been a ton of fun. I really hope somebody is under the helmet. There is an identity. There is a backstory to whoever is Marok. I do think it may be Starkiller, remains to be seen. But for some reason, he is nobody, and Ahsoka just absolutely dices this dude up in the woods and then goes on to fight Baylan at the end of the episode. Honestly, so be it. Like, it is what it is. Speaking of the duel in the Red Woods, though, when it comes to Sabine and Shin, I do think Shin will most likely get the best of Sabine, not actually stab her with a lightsaber again. Hopefully not. But I do think there could be a situation here where Sabine basically maybe escapes Shin and possibly even taps into the Force for the first time to do so. And maybe it's not in some incredible way. Maybe it's literally just like I don't know, she's able to pick something up and throw it at Shin and it just distract her, knock her out like long enough to make a run for the ship or something, just to get, you know, Shin off of her or something. Not that Sabine can't hold her own. Obviously, we have seen her as a Mandalorian fighting in Rebels, all that stuff, but now she's trying to pick up the lightsaber, really learn it for the first time around. Again, specifically the lightsaber, not the dark saber. And as we saw in episode 3, she is absolutely not one with the Force. It is not coming easy to her, which I love. I don't want it to come so easy, but at the same time, I'm sure sometime this season we're going to see some kind of glimmer of hope for Sabine using the Force. So maybe they really established that she is not one with the Force in the last few episodes, so that come this next battle with Shin, if it is in episode 4, she can tap into it a little bit in like that small way, whatever it may be, to kind of show she is making progress in her training with Ahsoka. But one thing I've said in multiple videos this week is I don't think Shin will be dying anytime soon. I do think there is a chance they write off the Baylan character, not even specifically because that the actor unfortunately passed away. I think that's something that could have possibly happened anyway. And the reason I bring that up is because if we get Shin versus Sabine, I don't think there will necessarily be a winner. Sabine escapes, Shin goes off to help Baylan, something like that. And when it comes to Ahsoka versus Baylan, I do think they're gonna butt heads in this episode. Again, we saw in the trailers they were battling lightsaber duel in that star map area that we saw at the end of episode 2. And I do think this is where we will see Baylan mention Anakin to Ahsoka. I think mentioning it in this episode and then having Anakin pop up next week in episode 5 would be a nice progression, and it just makes the most sense. I mean, that is literally like the moment that we all think Baylan is going to say those words to Ahsoka. As we saw in the trailers, Baylan said to Ahsoka, everyone in the Order knew who Anakin Skywalker was, but very few lived to see what he became. I do think we will get that moment in next week's episode, this coming Tuesday's episode, whatever. And I think that's going to create a very intense moment right before they battle between Ahsoka and Baylan. And even though I do think Baylan could be dying by the end of the season, I don't think it'll happen midway during the season in episode 4. I do think if it is going to happen, it'll be probably episode 7, maybe season finale type thing, just because it feels like a very big deal. Baylan's been an integral part of this show so far, so I don't see him, you know, dying so soon. And another thing that we can get in the dialogue between Ahsoka and Baylan Skoll is the other thing that we were discussing earlier this week, which is who Baylan's master may have been back in the days of the Jedi Order. I am in the camp of the theory, and I made a video talking about this. You guys can go check it out in the cards, that he possibly may have been the Padawan to Jedi Master Plo Koon. I do think that would be a very cool thing to add to this story, especially, and again, I dived more into this in my video the other day, but Plo Koon was the one who brought Ahsoka to the Jedi Temple when she was, I believe, 3 years old. People have described their relationship like a father-daughter relationship. They fought side by side several times in the Clone Wars, so you don't think Baylan mentioning not only Anakin, but Plo Koon being his former master wouldn't strike up some emotions at Ahsoka and really just rise the tension of that scene? I think it would be great. And I think it's also harmless because at this point, obviously, Plo Koon is already gone. It's not like he's going to be returning to our screens anytime soon. At least we know. I mean, maybe he's dead, maybe he somehow survived, but I don't expect him to be alive. And if they were to say Plo Koon was Baylan's master, at the most I seeing it just being dialogue. Maybe we get a flashback, which would be really cool to see Plo Koon and a younger Baylan training at the Jedi Temple. But regardless whether it's Plo Koon or not, I do think this could be a very interesting moment to bring up some of Baylan Skoll's past, which we only know so much about, especially because, again, he was a Jedi at the Jedi Temple. Ahsoka was there as well. Obviously, 2 different ages, but there's a lot of connection there, and I think could create a very emotional scene outside of just the Anakin factor, which I think is just the icing on the cake. And how that lightsaber duel ends, I'm not exactly sure. Could just be, you know, HK droids coming in and really kind of separating the two Baylan mates and escapes, something like that. But I really don't see anybody dying in episode 4, minus maybe Marok. Remains to be seen. And again, if he dies, is what it is. I mean, we were the ones getting ourselves excited, I guess. I am very interested to see what Hera is going to do in this episode. Of course, she was kind of going one-on-one with all of those senators in episode 3, and they basically denied her a New Republic fleet to go out basically on the hunt to try to hunt down Thrawn and find Ezra Bridger. So I am curious. I brought this up in, I believe it was my episode 3 reactions. I said it in that moment, like I thought Hera was just going to try to take a fleet and go anyway. Maybe we are going to see, we have yet to see or really even talk about that much, Zeb in this show. And Zeb, we caught a live action glimpse of him in The Mandalorian Season 3. So maybe since the New Republic and all these senators denied Hera access, maybe she is going to go directly to one of her sources, if you will, being Zeb, a part of the New Republic, and she is going to get him and his crew to come out with her, and they are going to go on the hunt, meet up with Ahsoka, Sabine, and then go try to either take down Morgan Elsbeth or just go to the neighboring galaxy where they believe Ezra and Thrawn is, like something like that. But I do think that is what we're going to get, whether it involves Zeb or not, is Hera basically disobeying her orders, for lack of a better term, and going out on this hunt. And how much of that we get in this specific episode, I'm not exactly sure, but I definitely think that could be something that we see before the end of the season, if not the season finale. But I'm really pumped up, man. I've been loving the Ahsoka show so far. Episode 4 I think is going to be a banger, and then we got episode 5, Dave Filoni episode, which I do believe will be the episode we see Anakin Skywalker in some way, shape, or form. I do hope we see Captain Rex at some point in this show. It just makes the most sense, man. You gotta have Captain Rex in there at some point. Live action Rex, Tamira Morrison for the first time. Man, that would be an emotional scene between him and Ahsoka. I would love to see that at any point. And hell, maybe we're asking to have our cake and eat it too, but imagine episode 5, we get Anakin, and for some reason Captain Rex, maybe through like a Clone Wars flashbacks, and we see not only Hayden Christensen, but we see live action Rex. That would be insane, man. Tears, literally puddles of tears right here on this desk. Let me throw the discourse out to you guys. What do you guys think is going to happen on Tuesday night in episode 4 of the Ahsoka show? Be sure to like and subscribe on your way out, and go follow me across all social medias at Noah Nation Vlogs, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
This is Rogue 2. This is Rogue 2. Commander Skywalker, do you copy? This is Rogue 2.